Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Pour and Explore, a wine, food, and travel podcast. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, the wine guy. I'd love to be your go-to guide for all things wine, food, and the amazing places they take us. Here on Pour and Explore, we'll sip, savor, and wander through the exciting world of wine, discuss incredible cuisines, and uncover the stories behind unforgettable destinations. Each week, I'll bring you lively conversations with wine experts, chefs, travel pros, and fellow enthusiasts. We'll share practical tips, hilarious tales, and plenty of inspiration to fuel your next adventure. So grab a glass, pull up a chair, and join me as we pour, explore, and celebrate the good life. Let's dive in. All right, hello, fellow explorers and aficionados. Welcome back to Pour and Explore, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of wine, food, and travel. And today, we're going to dive deep into cigars as well. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, and I am the wine guy. And on today's episode, it's going to be a real treat for those who appreciate the finer things in life. A good cigar, a perfect drink, and a warm, welcoming environment to enjoy it all. If you're like me, you know that cigars aren't just about the smoke. They're about the experience. They're about the craftsmanship. They're about the story behind each leaf of tobacco. Much like wine, the world of cigars is deeply influenced by terroir, the unique combination of soil, climate, and tradition that shapes the flavor profile of each project. Just as a vineyard's terroir determines the characteristics of the wine in the bottle, the terroir of the tobacco leaves plays a vital role in the complexity and richness of the cigar. Cigar tobacco is grown in distinct regions across the globe, with each region imparting its own flavors to the leaves. The most well-known of these regions include Cuba, of course, the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and Honduras. But today we're going to look beyond just the famous names and explore the nuances of cigar growing regions around the world. In Nicaragua, for example, the volcanic soils and the tropical climate create rich, earthy flavors, while in the Dominican Republic, the more temperate conditions produce milder, smoother cigars. Honduras is known for its robust tobacco that brings complexity and depth, while Cuba remains synonymous with the finest cigars in the world, with its soil and climate contributing to that unmistakable flavor. Now, don't get me wrong, the other Cuba is amazing, and yes, it deserves to be at the top of that list, but I will say as an avid smoker of Dominican cigars and Nicaraguan cigars, I highly recommend expanding your flavor palette a little bit and going after some of these other lesser known regions that are producing really amazing things. Now, similar to winemaking, the process starts in the soil. The process starts where the tobacco plant draws nutrients from the land, and it is shaped by the climate and weather conditions of that region. A cigar's strength, its flavor, and character are all influenced by these environmental factors. Just like wine's profile can be attributed to the grape's origin, it can be said for cigars. And like the art of wine blending, the art of blending tobacco leaves from different regions can create cigars that are truly unique, combining strength, aroma, and flavor in ways that are as personal as the smoker's taste. So much like wine, get out there and try something new. Get out of your comfort zone. You've heard me say that before. Get out of your comfort zone. You know, if you're a purely Connecticut smoker, you like something a little more mild, go try something from the Dominican Republic. Just amazing stuff coming out of there. Now, to dive deeper into the world of cigars, I brought a guest on today who is no stranger to the world of flavors, craftsmanship, and dedication of cigar producers from around the world. His name is Greg Mozan. He is a cigar aficionado, of course. He's also a mixologist. He has spent years refining his palate and deepening his knowledge of cigars. I know Greg from my favorite cigar lounge here in San Diego, California, called Excalibur. It's a cigar and Scotch lounge, but they have a lot more than Scotch on the menu, and I definitely appreciate that. Some great wine, some great beer, and one of the largest humidors I've ever been in. Lots and lots of selection in that humidor. And over at Excalibur is where he's not just a member of the staff, but he is a key figure who helps craft the perfect cigar and cocktail pairings for guests. I'm really, really excited about the conversation. In today's conversation, we're going to talk more than just cigars. We're going to explore the art of pairing wine with drinks. We're going to explore the art of pairing cigars with drinks, whether it's whiskey, rum, or even soft drinks, and the role terroir plays in the shaping of the flavor and the experience of enjoying a great cigar. Greg will share his journey from discovering cigars to becoming a full-time member of the cigar community, blending his love for cigars with his expertise in hospitality and mixology. So whether you're a cigar enthusiast or new to the world of tobacco, this episode promises to be a fascinating exploration of how tobacco growing regions around the world impact the flavor of cigars and how Greg's passion for cigars has led him to explore new horizons in the cigar world and in the mixology world. Grab your favorite smoke, pour yourself a drink, and join us for a conversation about the craftsmanship, the culture, and the experience that makes cigars an unforgettable part of life. Cheers, and let's dive in. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pour and Explore podcast. We are a wine, food, and travel podcast, but not just that. I love to talk about things that are living in that world of wine, food, and travel, and one of my favorite things in the world is a great cigar. I love a good cigar along with a glass of wine. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to talk to a guy that I've known for several years now. I'd like to introduce Greg Mozan to the show today. He lives here in San Diego, where I'm from. He is one of the folks who helps me out at my favorite cigar lounge here in San Diego called Excalibur. It's over in the Claremont Mesa neighborhood of San Diego, and it's absolutely an amazing place to be. Great humidor, amazing whiskey and booze lineup, and Greg is one of the awesome people who works there, and he just does an amazing job. So I really appreciate having you on, Greg. Thank you so much. Greg's background, he of course is a cigar aficionado. You can't work at a cigar store unless you it's 11 o'clock in the morning right now, so he's already puffing some smoke today. I love that. Greg is a whiskey connoisseur. He makes really great cocktails. His smoked cocktails are one of his specialties at the Excalibur Lounge. He's a music lover. And probably my least favorite thing about you, Greg, is the fact that you're a 49ers fan. That's my least favorite thing about you.
I almost wore a hat for you today too, but I said, no, let me just keep it,
I'm bleeding green over here in San Diego.
I see that.
And I'm inundated with you Niners fans. But it's all good. I still like you, my friend. Tell me a little bit about your background. You're sitting here in sunny San Diego. Tell me how you got here and how you started.
I was a Navy brat. I've been out here since 83, 84. Different stints, Bremerton, different parts of San Diego, prior to here from the East Coast, born in Brooklyn, families from South Bronx, Philly. I still have family in Philly, but my immediate family, they're all in the Midwest, mom, dad, brother, and one of my sisters. Been out here, college in the Midwest for a couple of years, played 2 years of college football till blew out my shoulder, came home, and I was burned out after 2 years of college. My mom said, guess what, go get a job, because you can't live here for free. And then I've been smoking cigars for about a little over 15 years now. Started off with Backwoods and Black and Milds. An older friend was like, put that down. That's just a big cigarette. Here, smoke this. My first cigar was an LFD chisel, which was dark as you can possibly get. Mm-hmm. And didn't cough, didn't throw up. Had a cigar cough, managed to get through 2 of them in about, 5 hours. And say, you know what? It was a different feeling. It was a legal buzz, if you will. And just fell in love with the culture and just slowly started exploring, dabbling here and there over a course of time, and really got heavy probably within the last 5-6 years, where I really got I increased my intake and wanted to increase my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably about 3 years ago, a dream formed after a visit to the DC area with some smoking friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to finding a second job at Excalibur, which is now a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And other things are in the works for my future. You know, I'm a girl dad, so I'm planning for my daughter's tomorrow, even though she doesn't really like the idea. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Tell me about your time at Excalibur. You said it's been about 3 years. That jives with when I remember you coming in. I've been
Mm-hmm.
going for about 5 or 6 years now. Love Tom, love Freddie, love Rosita. Tell me how you're enjoying it there.
Life is good. You know, it's a family environment. As you can tell when you come in, our regulars, we know what you like.
Mm-hmm.
We try to recommend some new things that are maybe in a person's wheelhouse or a little outside the wheelhouse, but
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we've tried that we enjoy versus something that, you know what, I'm not going to give you something that I've never had before. Started out, just like I said, just part-time, learning the business, mopping floors, cleaning tables, all the stuff that I still do
Mm-hmm.
today. But as the years went on, I started taking on more responsibilities, helping out with the social media presence through Instagram, and then slowly getting behind the bar. And Tom, the owner, allowed me to kind of create different things because he knows outside of work, I am a mixologist. I do my friends' parties. They just tell me, hey, we'll make something, figure it out.
Nice.
And through trial and error, I created our number one drink, my smoked old fashioned. Just by changing one simple part of the recipe, it took off. I'll get to work tomorrow at 3, and I'm sure I'll have someone waiting for me. We'll wait for you. I want you to make it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I've seen you make that not only on Instagram, but I've watched you make it live. It's a lot of fun to see. You've got your cigar torches around, so you've got plenty of fire to work with.
Quite a bit.
Love that. Fantastic. In addition to what you've been learning kind of on the job at
Mm-hmm.
Excalibur, Tom is extremely knowledgeable when it comes to cigars. I love what he does. I love the selection that he has in the store. Price points are really good as well. Whether you want to spend $10 or $100 on a cigar, you can find all of that right there. But, you're learning from one of the best here in town. But I also know that you're also doing a lot of shows as well. So you're going out to Vegas, I think, at least once a year, and you're going to Big Smoke, which is probably the biggest cigar show in the country. Tell me about some of your experiences there.
Big Smoke, this was my second year going. I frequent a different lounge here in San Diego, 3-in-1 Sports Lounge in East Lake, where one of the owners, Rick, has actually been kind of a mentor as I venture into the cigar business realm. So for the last couple of years, he's been helping further my education, introducing me to different vendors. With Big Smoke, it was a group effort. I became a member of a cigar group from 3-in-1 through a group of us that we smoke together all the time. The core group is 6, but we have roughly about 14 of us. We call ourselves the Maduro Masters. It's majority of what we all smoke, but I try to visit other lounges to kind of see how their events go and kind of learn. And one thing was I learned what doesn't work. Everyone can talk about the successes of an event, but I think in order to run a successful event, you have to be able to look at what can be improved upon, whether it be product availability, vendor interaction with the crowd, vendor personality, things along that line. And then I've done a few events. For a few months in 2022, I was hosting a table at the Louisiana Purchase restaurant in North Park.
Yep.
Once a
I'm
month.
familiar. Yep.
I would host a table, take several cigars there. The owner, who's also head chef, had a love of Padron cigars, so I always make sure I brought 4 or 5 for him to purchase, for him and his friends. And then that kind of fell apart because they weren't promoting it the right way. And between Tom and myself, we felt that it was just a wasted effort. I've hosted a table for my brother's restaurant in Wisconsin. Did pretty well. He had a restaurant inside of a business hotel. So we kind of worked it out to where I was there during the busy times where folks would come downstairs. He did promote it through his social media. The money that I invested, I got the majority of it back each time. It was a win-win because it was more about promoting my brother's restaurant than it was anything else. I do the Republican dinner 2 out of the last 3 years. I was there helping host a table with our marketing director and then our cigar roller, Lupe. I get asked back every year because we've never made these kind of tips before. Or what is your secret? And some of the secret is just talking to people. Treat each person individually. For me, it's always, how you doing, young man, young lady, older or young. Keep it casual, keep it respectful. And you find that a lot of the older individuals always have a smile. Oh, young man, guess how old I am? Young man to me. How can I help you?
Love that. Love that. So it sounds like you're always looking for ways to expand your knowledge, not only on the cigar side, but, dare we say the cigar hospitality side.
Correct.
I know just from knowing you and talking with you over the years that one of your dreams, one of your goals is to have your own shop. Tell me where that's heading.
I chose to finish off 2024, enjoying the holidays. My daughter's birthday's next week. So, those are the two biggest things I wanted to close the year out on. But I have put some fuel to a few fires. I have a friend who's helping me obtain my inside smoking permit, preferably in the city of Chula Vista, but could quite possibly be expanded to other parts of San Diego. There was a spot that I have been kind of watching. It's a 3,500 square foot location, which would allow me to incorporate a stage. One of the things that I've noticed in a lot of lounges here is there's a desire for live music on a consistent basis. We all love jazz in the lounge, but my goal is, if I can do this in Chula Vista, I've been informed that one of the things I would have to do is speak before the council, the city council, and kind of explain what I want to give to the city. And to put it in a nutshell, I want to create a safe space for adults, grown-ups, to come into a place, have a seat. We don't have the sports bar feel where it's overly noisy. You got drunks everywhere. I want to be where, kind of similar to what we have at Excalibur, only stepped up several steps with the live music. And I've told people I'm looking at doing jazz, Latin jazz, neo soul. So I'll even do mariachi music for the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm also looking at incorporating workspaces, because you've been there. I would like to at least have 2 to 3 areas, 2 to 3 setups where folks can come in during the day, plug in, grab a favorite stick, soft drink, because it'll probably be beer and wine for at least the first year or two.
Sure.
Have a seat, get their work done. I don't want to say we want to have cubicles, but that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Where they're isolated and they're not dealing with the outside noise.
I love that. That's a fantastic idea. That's such a great idea. Absolutely. I would go there. As someone who works remotely, has the ability to work from anywhere, I would be there in a heartbeat. Absolutely. And for our listeners, Greg is talking about the city of Chula Vista, which is a pretty large city, which is directly south adjacent to San Diego. It's between San Diego and Tijuana, if you can picture that. Well, awesome. That sounds absolutely fantastic. That is a big thing you've got coming up. And I know you are also continuing your education in cigars. You're looking to get your cigar sommelier certification. As a fellow sommelier, but a wine sommelier, I definitely salute you. It's not the easiest thing in the world. There's a lot of smoking that goes along with it, I would imagine.
Yes. It's also been able to pair it with wines, your bourbons, your scotches, your whiskeys, even your soft drinks. A lot of new smokers don't necessarily understand that you don't have to have alcohol with your cigar. You can have a basic soft drink. You can have Coke, Diet Coke, Dr. Pepper, and it will accompany your cigar immensely. Even, certain coffee, certain teas. Personally, I'm a vanilla chai guy. That's a good first thing in the morning for me. At the evening, it's a cup of chamomile tea. Those are the things that, like you said before, I've learned on the fly, on the job. Oh, you can do this, you can do this. And then a lot of it is self-experimentation.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Dr. Pepper and cigars. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's a great pairing. All right. You've talked about the group of guys that you hang out with, your time at Excalibur, your continuing education. I also understand that you've got a clothing line that you're working on that is geared towards the gentleman cigar smoker. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's geared towards both men and women. It's going to be a unisex line. I started a Facebook group a couple of years ago geared towards smokers, primarily here in San Diego, but I realized that it wasn't reaching out enough. So I kind of put it on pause for a little while. Then I started bringing in people from other states, friends from the DMV area, friends from the Midwest, friends from other cigar groups that I belong to on Facebook. And then probably about 6 months ago, I changed the name and it started taking off a little bit more. The name of the group is the Smoke Sophistication Society. I was actually sitting at work playing around and we were talking about being sophisticated in a lounge environment. And I just kind of put the two together. Smoke sophisticated. I bounced around a few friends in the industry and in the community and said, you know what, that's different. So when I started working on the clothing line concept, I thought about Smoke Sophistication Society. The concept is basically you don't necessarily have to smoke to be smoke sophisticated. It's are you living in your adultness? Are you truly, here? Are you choosing to be worldly? Are you choosing to have an air of sophistication about you in all aspects of your life? Not just smoking, not just drinking, but walking down the street, in the grocery store, in church, how you carry yourself. And the concept is looking towards Cuban shirts, sweatshirts, t-shirts for the ladies, because especially here in California, it's summer year round in one way or another.
Right.
Looking at cutters, humidors. I already have made contact with a embroiderer. He asked me about putting something up before Christmas, and I told him we'll wait till next year because I have family obligations that needed more of my attention. We're looking at that as maybe a jump off point, of course, to help build capital towards lounge costs, something to incorporate in the lounge. I do want to have a retail space, and I'm also working on a line for my Maduro masters. I haven't told them yet.
All right, so we'll be blowing the secret when this episode comes out.
That's okay.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, speaking of which, we're recording this conversation with Greg before the new year, if you hadn't caught on to that, but we won't be hearing it until sometime in the first quarter of 2025, so we can keep the secret for a little bit longer. Anyway, Greg, it was awesome to talk with you. Thank you so much for spending time with me today.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
I love everything that you're doing, keeping cigar smoking classy, but still cutting edge. I think that's where you're going with it, and I'm absolutely loving it. I love hanging out with you at the lounge, and I look forward to doing that again sometime real soon. Please check the show notes for Greg's social media handles, his website, Facebook group, and all of that stuff. I wish your daughter the happiest of birthdays coming up.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me because, again, we've talked so much in the lounge. My regulars, such as yourself and your lovely wife, they come in and make going to work fun. And then, like I said, knowing what you guys drink. For me, it's that personalization that creates the experience that makes folks such as yourself and your wife want to come back to where we are. If we as the staff members can't create that kind of warm, welcoming environment, you can spend your money anywhere you want to. You choose places you want to go to based on how you're treated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, I will be splitting my time between Excalibur and your new shop. All right, my friend, we're running out of time. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wow. What an incredible conversation with Greg. His passion for cigars, mixology, and creating unique spaces for people to connect and unwind is truly inspiring. From his legendary smoked old-fashioned to his vision of a cigar lounge with live music and workspaces, Greg shows us how dedication and creativity can transform any experience. Thank you so much, Greg. One thing that really stood out to me was Greg's emphasis on personalization and hospitality. Whether he's recommending a cigar or crafting the perfect drink, Greg really does understand the importance of making every guest feel special. My years in hospitality tell me the same thing, and we are really on the same page as far as that goes. The customer comes first, their happiness and their comfort always come first, and in a space like wine and cigars, travel, drinking great cocktails and wine, comfort is number one, and making sure the customer's happy is absolutely paramount. It's a reminder that no matter what we're passionate about, the human connection is really what makes it all worthwhile. If today's episode has sparked your interest in cigars, hospitality, or even starting the dream project of your own, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment or connect with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, all of those places, and come and share your thoughts. And don't forget to check out the show notes for the links to Greg's Facebook group, the Smokification Society, and all of his upcoming projects, of course. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pour and Explore. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends who might enjoy it too. And of course, a huge thank you again to Greg for sharing his journey with us. As always, keep exploring, keep indulging, and most importantly, keep wondering and wandering. Until next time, cheers. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Pour and Explore. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, and your questions, so you can drop me a line at cheers@thewineguy.vin. That's cheers@thewineguy.vin. Or let's connect on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Grab those links on my website at thewineguy.vin. Until next time, let's keep wondering and wandering. Cheers, everyone.